Hello and welcome to Manika IS. This is lecture 2 of internal security. In this part, we'll be discussing about basics of internal security. Okay. So first and the foremost important thing for you to know is what is security. So लेट्स डिस्कस व्हाट इज़ नेशनल सिक्योरिटी। देखो, बहुत सिंपल टर्म्स में अगर हम बात करें सिक्योरिटी का मतलब क्या होता है। सिक्योरिटी का मतलब टू सेफ गार्ड, टू प्रोटेक्ट समथिंग। ओके, सो सिक्योरिटी द टर्म इम्प्लाइज टू प्रोटेक्ट। अभी व्हेन यू ऐड नेशनल टू इट तो उसका क्या मतलब हो गया, टू सेफ गार्ड द नेशन। नेशंस की तीन एस्पेक्ट्स हैं फॉर एनी इंडिविजुअल नेशन टू गवर्न इटसेल्फ। ओके, टू बी इंडिपेंडेंट, to be not under control of any other entity. Those three aspects are citizen, territory, and your interest. Interest is a broader term which implies your policy decision making. Okay, so if any of these three is getting influenced by any external or internal territory which is entity which is not good for your self, that means your national security is under threat. Okay, so if we talk about broader terms, then the terms, if there is a if to protect your citizens and your national interest, the term means national integrity and national sovereignty. That is to protect national integrity and national sovereignty. If you talk about to protection of territory, that means territorial integrity and territorial sovereignty. Why I have given you these terms? Because these terms are important when you are writing a definition in your answer. So always use these key terms, they'll help you in gaining more marks that depict your understanding of the key terms as well as the subject. So this is a broad definition of national security. Now अगर हम नेशनल सिक्योरिटी को डिस्कस करें कि उसके थ्रेट्स क्या हैं, व्हाट आर द थ्रेट्स टू नेशनल सिक्योरिटी। ट्रेडिशनली अगर हम बात करें, सो देयर वाज जस्ट वन थ्रेट टू नेशनल सिक्योरिटी विच वाज वॉर। ओके, कि you are having war with any other country, or like we have had World War I, World War II, like these were the scenario before UN. Okay, but after coming of UN, uh, war is not the only means of threat to national security, because अगर हम बात करें यूएन के आने के बाद, it's very difficult to be in war with any country, because you are going to lose on your economy, you are going to lose uh, on your relations with the other country, you will face boycott. Like अगर हम अभी की बात करें तो रशिया यूक्रेन में जो वॉर चल रहा है उससे हो क्या रहा है, none of the parties are getting benefit. Russia is being sanctioned, civilian population, your army personnel, your money is getting spoiled. Okay, there is a lot of bloodshed, there is a lot of money involved, there is a lot of global backlash, and up us condition pe ho where you are not even able to retract back, because none of the parties is ready to give up. Everybody wants to win that na. सो देर इज़ नो पॉइंट ऑफ वॉर। अभी फिजिकल वॉरफेयर होना तो बहुत ही मुश्किल है इस सिनेरियो के अंदर आफ्टर यूएन। तो देर आर मल्टीपल मीन्स ऑफ वॉरफेयर विच हैज़ ग्रोन नाउ डेज। विल डिस्कस इट इन अ बिट। नाउ लेट्स डिस्कस कि अगर वॉर होता तो व्हाट यूज टू बी योर सेफ गार्ड मैकेनिज्म। योर सेफ गार्ड मैकेनिज्म वर व्हाट, यू इट वॉज योर आर्मी, your artillery, your cavalry. Now this was your safeguard mechanism. But nowadays, since they are multifaceted, अगर आपने हिस्ट्री भी पढ़ा है तो यू मस्ट बी नोइंग कि जैसे अशोका के टाइम पे या फिर ड्यूरिंग एनी अदर पीरियड, जिन लोगों के पास ज़्यादा स्टैंडिंग आर्मी होती थी, दे यूज टू बी कंसिडर्ड मोर पावरफुल। दैट वाज द वर्ल्ड in terms of power, in terms of defense before UN. Okay, but now it is not like that. If you talk in present times, multiple, like you have multiple threats in form of cyber security. Yes, cyber attacks. Today we have space warfare, we have biological warfare. One such example is considered to be COVID-19, where you can actually manipulate, you can create a virus. There was a movie also, if everybody has seen that, Pathan. It was also based on biological warfare. Okay, so these are certain things which are taking germinating today in today's time, because the technology has taken precedence over anything today. And then you have terrorism. Terrorism is a sort of proxy warfare. Since you cannot come and combat on individual level, on physical level, the army cannot go into clashes. Okay, but terrorism is a sort of ideological warfare. It's terrorism, proxy warfare, which states, it's like sponsored terrorism, na? As we talk about Pakistan in when it comes to terrorism in India or in the world itself. Okay, so these are the new threats to the national security which has germinated in the recent past, only because there is less space for traditional warfares. Now, if you talk about internal security, oh sorry, national security is divided into two parts, which is internal security and external security. Let's understand either both of them. Now, internal security, अगर हम बात करें, it is broadly referring to the protection of states from the threat that essentially originate within its own borders. It's not coming from outside, it is originating within the border itself. Okay. Now, these includes extremism, ethnic violence. In case you people are wondering from where will you get the dictations or the definition, if you want, you can you will get the notes after the end of the lectures. You will get the notes also for the same topic. You can get that. Within borders. Okay. Now, then you have organized crimes, etc. Now, and when you talk about external security is essentially safeguarding your nation, your interests, your territory from the threats that are germinating from outside the borders of your country. Say, for example, cross border terrorism. Cross border cyber attacks, economic warfare, etc. Now, this is being dealt, generally the external security facet is dealt by uh, defense forces, and hence it comes under the purview of Ministry of Defense. And uh, these are dealt by Ministry of Home Affairs. As it includes intelligence gathering, surveillance, border control, police operation, emergency response. That's why this come under Ministry of Home Affairs. Although they work in sync together, but essentially external security is a task which essentially is for defense forces. So this comes under Ministry of Defense. Okay. So this was broadly the differentiation between external and internal security. Now, there are many internal security challenges which India is facing, and which will be our topic in the upcoming classes. They include Naxalism, terrorism, cybersecurity, maritime and border security, insurgency in northeast, and militancy in Jammu and Kashmir. These are the uh, broader internal security challenges that India is facing. Now let's try and understand what are the factors that India is facing internal security problems in India. Like why is it that we are facing a lot of internal security challenges? See, the first and the foremost thing is there are many unresolved issue. See, if you see one, we got turbulent and a fragile, hostile neighborhood. One was there, China was already there, another was gifted by Britishers to us in the form of Pakistan, and then Pakistan bifurcated into Bangladesh. So it all created a turbulent situation, and the kind of partition that also occurred was very violent partition. It was not a peaceful partition. So the problem that was there in terms of hostile neighbors, and till today we don't have any resolution on our borders. Okay. Borders are still not delineated in a proper manner. So that is one reason. Second is we still have developmental challenges, like we do have unemployment, which India being the largest demographically the largest country in terms of its population, it caters to a lot of unpopulated youth, and this unpopulated youth is being banked upon by the external factors who are trying to disorient them from their original path of development, and bringing them into nefarious activities. If we remember 2-3 years back, अभी तो ऐसे incidences नहीं आ रहे हैं, we have an issue of pelting of stones in Jammu and Kashmir. That was because they were influenced. They were heavily influenced. अगर आप अभी भी you'll keep on, if you read newspapers, you know that we still have some issues. Like Kerala Story is one such movie. I don't know how much reality you can talk about it, but it is one such movie जहाँ पे it is reflected the how youth is getting misguided and misused by the external agents. Okay, so now these are certain issues which are still there. Further, poverty is there. ठीक है. Now if we talk about administrative issues, there are many administrative issues. अगर हम देखेंगे तो we do have a uh, unequal growth. Okay, we do have an unequal growth. We have widening gap between have and have notes. Like we have digital divide today, we have gender divide today, we have wage divide today. uh, if you see that there are a lot of I would say non-inclusive growth which is going on in India. Like it is being said, if you are earning 25,000 per person, you are among the 10% in the country. Like only 25,000 makes you in the 10%. Now imagine the wages which are in the 90%. The gap is huge. Okay. Then comes your politics. Politics is another such issue. We have seen like now in India, very famously we say that we do not cast our vote, we vote our caste. Like India में you will find कि political awareness लोगों के अंदर बहुत कम है, जिसकी वजह से the people who are trying to gain vote, uh, that is the politicians who they bank upon the sentiments. Okay, policy के ऊपर there is no discussion. When you see less discussion on policy, how to get things right, but more on the communal issues. जैसे the Ayodhya, that was a big issue when it comes to the political campaigns. Okay, that was a religious issue. Then then there's lot of promises being made on reservations being given to a particular caste, and we have seen that many political party taking steps to give reservations to a particular caste, and that leading into a revolt sort of a thing in that particular state also. So there are certain things, and then these things go into the high court, which again increase the burden. So the political narrative of India is such that people are heavily influenced into caste based politics and communal politics. Okay, so that is another reason. उसके बाद if you'll see कि what has happened, that people do have regional aspirations along with, that's why we'll see regionalistic movement. Okay, like you'll see Bodoland movement, and then you'll see Khalistani movement. They are inspired by Khalistan, to an extent is an insurgent movement also, but yeah, the they want themselves to be divided, that you have to low land movement. People want land, people want area of their sect, of their linguistic basis, on ethnic basis, on sectarian grounds. Now all these things are adding to the security threat, because you never know from, you have seen na the thing, what happen is कि एक कोई भी violent activity होता है, then turn in some nefarious people are there who actually go and they go and they try to burn buses, burn infrastructure, break things down. कोई भी log jam भी होगा, even if it is peaceful, it will eventually impact the economy and growth. अगर एक जैसे किसान वाला हुआ था, for the route became longer, and that impacted overall economy of the country, right? The so all these things have, it's due to the partition politics only. Like if the politics would have been in right, and if the citizen would have been aware of their right, and eventually the benefit of the right candidate or the wrong, these things would have been avoided. Okay. The second thing is geographical factor. Geography has played a huge role in India, because it was directly linked to development in that particular place. So सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम हुआ है कहाँ पे, जहाँ स्पेसिफिकली नॉर्थ ईस्ट को अगर हम देखें, from the mainland India to the northeast, what is happening? It is only joined by by a chicken necks corridor. ठीक है, then that's the way. तो ज़्यादा कनेक्टिविटी नहीं हुआ वहाँ पे, ज़्यादा डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुआ. फर्दर वो हिली एरियाज है, कंस्ट्रक्शन इज डिफिकल्ट, रोडवेज रेलवेज आर बिकेम डिफिकल्ट. सो व्हेन they feel alienated, they feel isolated. So this feeling of isolation was banged upon by the actors who were not in favor of India being peaceful country. Okay, and they uh, deliberately infuse the feeling of mistreatment or ill treatment towards them, and to an extent it happened only. So although nowadays government has also started cultural exchange program, if you see there was some university in DU who started a cultural exchange program in Assam also. So these things will help in bridging the gap which is there. However, you still have digital divide. If you see in Andaman and Nicobar, NOFN की को use करके they are trying to bridge it up, but rural areas में भी है. So the feeling of alienation is one thing which force people to think that they are not they are not the part of decision making, despite of the fact that the representation was there in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. That feeling of isolation catered to the growth of in radical movements, insurgent movements in certain part of India. Okay. Then there was this governance deficit. If you see that there is a lot of corruption which is going on, and then there is a nexus between criminals and policemen. And if you see, whenever there is a terror attack also being there's some or the other, you will find that their involvement in some local governance, policemen or some security agents, some local support is always there. So what happened due to that is this create a trust deficit also. And this trust deficit is not good for any governing body. Okay, because this leads to several radical uprisings. Okay, now let us discuss. This is the last topic for today: generation of warfare. This is a miscellaneous topic, not in sync with the ongoing topic. In the next class after this, we'll start extremism. Okay. We'll start next extremism in the part B of this lecture. But here, let's discuss generation of warfare, like how the warfare has evolved. Like we have already discussed the new threats that are coming to internal security, the national security of India. So in this, we'll see how it has evolved over the years. So if you talk about first generation, very first generation included hand to hand combat. Okay, like you must have seen in the movies that शत्रुघ्न सिन्हा kind of a movie ना, जहाँ पे वो बस मुक्के मुक्के से मारे जा रहे हैं एक दूसरे को, जहाँ पे swords या spears ऐसी चीज़ों को अगर हमने ancient history में पढ़ा है तो इस तरीके से they used to fight. पेंटिंग्स वगैरह भी इस तरीके से बनी रहती थी उस टाइम पे. तो दिस वॉज द फर्स्ट जनरेशन ऑफ वॉरफेयर. ओके, इट इज़ हैंड टू हैंड कॉम्बैट. फर्दर एक इसको लाइन एंड कॉलम फॉर्मेशन से भी जाना जाता है. फर्स्ट को लाइन एंड कॉलम कॉम्बेशन फॉर्मेशंस भी बोलते हैं. दिस इज़ लाइक द स्ट्रैटेजी टू फाइट. ओके, अगर हम सेकेंड जनरेशन वॉरफेयर की बात करेंगे, सेकेंड जनरेशन वॉरफेयर उस पीरियड को कहा गया है जहाँ पे फायर और गन पाउडर वॉज फाउंड. ओके, बेसिकली गन पाउडर का यूज़ होने लग गया था तब, उसको बोलते हैं. इसको यहाँ पे राइफल्ड मस्केट्स या फिर लोडिंग व्हीकल्स भी यूज़ होते, वेपन्स भी यूज़ होते थे. इसको बोला जाता है मॉडर्न अर्ली मॉडर्न वॉरफेयर. The third generation of warfare is actually known as modern warfare. This was the period of World War II. Here, security forces and long range weapons came into being. Then come your fourth generation warfare. Fourth generation warfare को बेसिकली द डिस्टिंग्विश फैक्टर इज़ कि अभी भी फाइट तो फोर्सेस के बीच में ही हो रहा है, बट नाउ दे आर, अभी तक जो फाइट सिर्फ फोर्सेस के बीच में था, नाउ इट हैज़ एक्चुअली कम टू सिविलियंस ऑल्सो. Now they are trying to target civilian also to break the country from inside as well, not just from the forces. They are hitting the civilian also. Okay, so guerrilla warfare is also a tactic under this fourth generation warfare. Civilians are also being harmed. So far, civilians were not being harmed. Okay. Now, the recent and the fifth generation warfare. It is like fighting wars of information or perception, cyber attacks. They are deliberately creating a perception which is wrong. डेटा बेस्ड वॉरफेयर है यहाँ पे. Cyber attacks, manipulation, disinformation are some of the means that they are using. So these were broadly the 5 generation of warfare. Another term is there which is known as psychological warfare. Psychological warfare is basically use of psychological techniques और tactics जिससे आप इन्फ्लुएंस कर सको लोगों के बिलीफ इमोशन एटीट्यूड्स और बिहेवियर्स को. ठीक है. इट बेसिकली शेप द परसेप्शन और डिसीजन मेकिंग ऑफ द ऑडियंस. सो दिस इज हाउ the generation of warfare has evolved. One work for you, you need to tell me psychological warfare falls under which generation of warfare. This is your homework for today. Do comment in the comment section, and tomorrow we'll read about insurgency. If you have any question, any queries with respect to the topics which have been discussed above, you can please send me in the inbox. I'll definitely respond to them, or somebody from our team will respond to them. Anything that you want to ask, you can keep asking. Thank you. Have a nice day. Tomorrow we'll see with insurgency. Thank you.